Hey, welcome back to the channel. There's an epic battle going on right now between institutions and retail investors. I got a great video for you guys today. This is the news from yesterday, from Monday. GameStop falls after filing to sell up to 3.5 million shares. That's a pretty big deal. Now compare this to AMC, where it was a shareholder vote taking place for dilution. This is a forced dilution per se. So that's bearish sentiment on GameStop early in the week. That did affect the share price. It opened down 15 to 20% red. Continues to say the company said filed to sell up to 3.5 million shares of its common stock from time to time. This isn't necessarily a one-time deal either. They may do this more in the future going forward. Represents about 5% of the 70 million shares outstanding as of March 17th. $670 million worth, just about, at the current share price. The company plans to use the proceeds from the offering to further accelerate its transformation. So that is a good thing, that they're trying to adjust and adapt to the new technologies of the future, but it is bearish news on the day. And so here's a funny little Reddit post, a couple comments that I stumbled upon that I thought you guys might enjoy. It definitely represents the overall attitude of new investors, new money entering these risky assets. GME and AMC were my first investments ever. I feel like I'll have to undo everything I've learned and all of my logic after this. Ah yes, January, when younger, naive me thought I'd YOLO in. You only live once, applies to stocks. People say that in stocks often nowadays. So they thought they'd YOLO in at $17 on AMC and continue seeing their money blast off to the moon in like a week, maybe two. The squeeze. Oh, how much I've grown since that time. Grown angrier at hedge funds and determined to diamond hand as long as it takes. Note, I've averaged down since then. Well done. I'm also accumulating the dips, not on AMC, but some of our other stock picks like Sundial, CTRM, Castor Maritime, CCIV, Churchill Capital, etc. And I'll be covering those charts in our Friday live stream. Hope to see you there. And here is the AMC Trading View indicators. Remember, these are just an estimate. It's just an overall aggregate of the indicators. You can't make a trade based off this per se, but nonetheless, we see a bunch of buy signals starting to come through on AMC. And this is on the long term. So this is the monthly indications. And then we go to the weekly. Buy, strong buy, neutral. Buy, strong buy, neutral. Buy, sell, strong buy. So I'm just going to shorter and shorter time frames here, and not much is changing until we get into the higher time frames. So according to this, there's only sell signals really on the higher time frames here for AMC. Not on the 4-hour for swing trading or the daily for investing. Now jumping into the charts, here's our day trading chart from the live stream, and I'm happy that we were able to call the bottom here, and it was a nice epic bounce as well, and that's why this is a intense battle between retail and hedges. So they're continuing to attempt to lower the price through manipulation over and over again. They haven't given up. We saw it back here. We saw it some more here. and then potentially going forward slightly. We were also, because this was such a big move upwards on the day, from the bottom to the tops, over 20% easily. That was a very large pump and a nice little breakout on the day trading chart. So we were expecting some profit taking as well from these levels, from these red resistance lines coming through from way back at the previous price action. Those were relevant areas, and once the price reached above there and then returned in this consolidation area, it did sell off from that point. Totally normal, there's nothing wrong with that, and I like where it came down to as well. It touched down to the 10.40 support, $10.40. That's exactly where we were hoping it would go. If it was even more bearish, it would have came down closer to $9.40, back down in this area, or even this moving average, but it has not done that at the moment. And the way it's looking, it does appear to be curving upwards at the moment somewhat. And not only that, there's a great buy wick coming through, a bullish wick underneath this very last candle on the day, the last 5-minute candle. And then zooming out a little bit, before I do that, actually, I'm gonna readjust. So we like to be flexible as things change from day to day. So I'm gonna readjust this downside arrow. I like the scale, the magnitude of this arrow. I'm gonna keep the size the same and just place it back to where it actually did dip up here. That lines up very nicely from the local high to the local low right here within this channel. And I'm going to also extend this its previous resistance. Okay, it's no longer resistance, but I am going to extend that and turn it into somewhat of a support line right here, like so. It's still relevant, and now that price is on top of the accumulation area down at 10.40, it's looking like we could see a nice push higher in the near future here. If it continues to consolidate just a little bit, it may even pump again over the next couple days early in the mornings, as buyers are stepping in with that bullish sentiment. So it is a chart I'm actively watching. It does change very rapidly, but everything looks nice so far. It's continuing to align. All of the patterns are aligning with our past predictions. So we had a nice breakout up in this area. I'm going to move it over now that the RSI has returned once more down towards this trend line support. It looks like it could bounce from there again. So that's bullish. I suspect we're seeing some bullish momentum on the MACD as well. So there it is on the 30-minute, some green. 1 hour. The 2 hour looks great. There's room for this to go higher. Don't be fooled by these false signals where it appears this is curving down. Don't be fooled. There's a lot of room to the upside. It could still go before doing that. And the 4 hours just about to turn green here. Another bullish signal, if that does indeed come through over the next day or two, and then across here on the moving averages. I'll delete these lines so you can see it better. if we do indeed see a cross on these lines, as well as a bullish bar coming through, a nice green bar, that'll look great as well. Here's the long-term chart real quick. Is a daily chart. It looks perfect. It's following our projection from the bottom here, the local bottom, down on the long-term support. Remember, that's why it bounced, was that long-term support we were watching very closely. That held again. It also held back here in this last bear trap. And it did actually break through the moving average ever so slightly. You can see it wicked right above it. Here's our poll from 2 weeks ago, AMC or GME, and I just changed it to AMC because it is more bullish as of late. I have faith in both. It's not over for GME. I'd like to talk about that. That poll came out 2 weeks ago, right at the local top here at around $300. So that was a pretty accurate signal. Funny enough, there is some power in having a community that discusses these assets. And the GME pre-market is open as I'm filming this right now. It hasn't moved much. It's actually down just a little bit. But I wanted to point out again our gigantic magic triangle. Trust in the magic triangle, guys. This is very relevant still. You can see all the previous price action has simply been riding within this triangle. It continues to do so currently. It may change any day, and it is getting very close to testing this resistance here. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully it happens while I'm live so I can keep everyone posted. But day and day again, we've seen these false signals. A lot of green coming through on the day, followed by a sell-off thereafter. So even though it has appeared bullish at times, it has been trending down as of late. And it very well could continue to the downside following that bearish sentiment on the share selling. So this is where the news dropped about that, as well as the share price. Okay, boom, 30% down on the day. It did get bought up thereafter, but it has not yet returned to the previous area of consolidation up here. So I'm going to put a box on this area, and this is not a sell box, this is not a buy box, this is a bearish box. I'm going to leave that there for the time being. And here is our buy box still. It's been here ever since the bottom at $40. I've had this buy box on the chart ever since down here, literally. And this was our bullish signal for a long entry on Denwo's swing trading style. And we saw a huge run up from that point. A bunch of profit taking at the top of this new giant wedge. And it may very well return down here before continuing higher. That's the long-term chart right now, unbiased long-term chart. For the bulls to take back over here on GameStop, what we're going to need to see is a real push higher than this resistance line right here at 195. $195 on the dot. So not only a breakout, I don't want to see it wick back down and return to this area. We can't come back down here pretty much ever again if this is going to continue from this point. So either it's gonna test here and really find support and break out in the near future, or it is going to return lower back to this buy box once more. So a very critical point right here right now. Make sure to subscribe for more updates about this going forwards. I'll keep you posted, don't worry. You're staying one step ahead of the markets just by knowing about these two possibilities here. And if it does break out here, keep in mind, once more, it could be somewhat of a false signal and trap a bunch of new money before coming back down and at the very least, retesting this trend line. Also very relevant on the chart, if I do if I do extend and adjust this trend line from the wedge. Now, first of all, I was planning to show more of the day trading chart, but I want to keep things a little bit short and sweet today, so this may be one of those false signals. It appears to be breaking out here, but we saw it right here as well, and then it sold right back off, back below the resistances. So there's an active resistance area. It needs to start closing up here around $200, above $200, for this to look really bullish going forwards over the next couple months. And I'm gonna wrap it up with our long-term chart, because what I'm seeing here is a lot of new and experienced chartists and analysts are going to be drawing a wedge like this. They're going to be drawing some sort of triangle, symmetric triangle from the bottom down here, expecting a breakout right here, right now. But if you've been keeping up with this chart, you know that this is the bottom. This one down here, the yellow diagonal line, is the support. It's the only relevant long-term support. That other one is not significant compared to this bigger one down below in the buy box. Great. Stay calm, hold strong. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. Happy trading.